In high-pressure, stressful situations, some people shit their pants, they panic, and they completely lose all ability to function effectively. Other people, on the other hand, they thrive in these situations and respond really well to these exact same situations. Now, one thing that separates the two groups is staying focused on solutions. Most people, average people, the people that panic and lose their minds, they focus on complaining, they talk about how terrible the situation is, they go on a witch hunt, they're looking for the people responsible, they're trying to find someone to get angry at. Train yourself to just always think in terms of solutions to the problem. You don't blame, you don't complain, you don't look for somebody to point the finger at, none of that shit. You just say, what's the solution? How do we go from here? There's a mental law called the Law of Substitution, which basically says that you can only think one thought at a time. So if you're thinking a panicked thought, a worried thought, a negative thought, you can just replace that and drive it out by just thinking purely in terms of solutions. Complaining, negative, you're worried, drive it out and just say, what's the solution? What's the solution? And you just focus on that, and that's where your mental attention goes. Now, Brian Tracy, he often says that the antidote to worry, panic, negative emotions, purposeful action in the direction of your goals. He recommends that we just get so busy working on our goals that we don't have time to worry. It's the same way with high pressure situations. Get so busy working on the solution, get so busy focusing on responding effectively, you don't have time to worry, you don't have time to panic, you're just focused on taking effective action. Something else you can do is just program your subconscious mind to respond effectively. Just decide that that's going to be your default response going forward. It's a problem, I respond effectively. The shit's hitting the fan, I respond effectively. Everyone's losing their minds and complaining and buckling under the pressure, I respond effectively. Just program that into yourself and just have it be your default response to these situations, and lo and behold, you're going to act in accordance with those statements and with those positive beliefs. Something else you can do, this is probably the most important thing you can do to respond to high pressure situations, is train yourself to actually enjoy the pressure. Enjoy the challenge. Enjoy the adrenaline rush and the excitement. Just, reframe it. Don't think of it as negative. Don't think about it like a terrible situation. Reframe it in your mind as like, I'm in the fucking zone right now. I feel alive. I'm up to the task. I love a fucking challenge. Talk in these positive, almost like aggressive, empowering ways. When like the shit's hitting the fan and you're in some sort of really stressful situations, just be like, bring it the fuck on, man. Is this the best you got? Like, I'm going to handle this shit. I'm going to eat this challenge for fucking lunch. And it just totally flips it around from like a bad thing, a horrible thing that you want to like run away from, a bad situation. You're like, bring it the fuck on, dude. I'm going to handle business and get this shit done. There's a show on Netflix called Formula One Drive to Survive. It just like follows Formula One drivers and like the management and like the team members and stuff and like the races themselves. And the manager of the Mercedes team, his name is Toto Wolff. He's an entrepreneur, total fucking badass. And the last season, there was a great quote there where it's like the end of the season. It was like neck and neck in terms of points between like his team, his organization, and like the competitors he was up against. And they were asking him during the interview, they were like, how do you handle these high pressure situations where it's like there's a couple races left and the fucking pressure's on? And his response was like, I thrive in these situations. This is when I'm most in my comfort zone. Is when the pressure's on, when it's total fucking chaos. That's when he gets focused. That's when he gets lasered the fuck in. That's when he's locked in, totally in the zone. And his wife, they asked him as well, and she was like, he just absolutely, the more pressure there is, the more focused, the more effective he gets. And so really what you want to do is just change your mind so you respond in the same way. Now, how do you get better at handling these high pressure situations? Experience a lot of them. It's the same way with anything in life. Whatever the situation is where you're uncomfortable, you feel like you bungle it and handle it poorly. Dude, the more you do it, the more your comfort zone is going to grow, the more your zone of effectiveness is going to expand. So really you want to just throw yourself into these fucking pressure cooker situations as often as possible. Raise your hand, volunteer. I'm up to the fucking task. I love a good challenge. Just put yourself in these situations as often as possible, and you're going to really improve your ability to function effectively in these pressure situations. Something else that's really fucking helpful with like high pressure, stressful situations, just remind yourself that whatever the fuck it is, you'll survive and you'll handle it. Just trust yourself, trust your ability to respond effectively and handle it. It's a really simple thing, and just reminding yourself of that can really just take a lot of the pressure off. One specific thing I like to say to myself, if anyone can handle this, it's me. Dude, complete shit show, just train wreck, disaster scene, where it's just like an absolute fucking mess. Dude, I just tell myself, if there is anyone on the fucking planet that can handle this, it's me. That's something else that's really helpful as well. Now, sometimes you have situations where there's just a lot coming at you at once, whether it's like in the fucking workplace, a company that you're running. It could just be one of those days where there's like 20 things coming at you at once. You have so much to fucking do, and you're just like, how the fuck am I going to get this done? Really, in those situations, what you have to do is just focus on one thing at a fucking time. You just pick one thing, you just get it done, and you just move on to the fucking next thing. You might have a big list, a big steaming pile of fucking shit that you have to deal with for the day. You just pick one thing at a time, you focus on it, you get it done to the best of your ability, and you just move down the list. At the end of the day, that's all you can fucking do. Another common form of pressure is time pressure, where it's like there's a deadline coming up and you have to get some sort of big project done, and that can impose a lot of stress on you. And really, you want to flip it around and just understand that deadlines and these sort of time constraints, they're actually excellent forcing systems. In fact, a lot of people, when you read books on like productivity and time management, they recommend that you put like strict deadlines and these sort of constraints, because that actually pushes you to focus and get clear about what's most important. And here what you can do is use the 80-20 rule, where you just look at all the tasks that you need to do and just say like, what's most critical for getting this project done, and just focus on those most essential top priorities. The essentials first, like the tiny stuff, the irrelevant shit, the stuff that doesn't really matter. And then, of course, just eliminate distraction and time wastage. You know, if there's a fucking deadline coming up and you're time pressured and you're checking Facebook and checking email 30 times a day, that's fucking stupid. You focus on the top essentials and you just work on that list and just get those things done. And that's really going to help. If there's just way too much to do, if you feel like there's way too much on your fucking plate, one question you can ask is like, can any of these tasks just be totally eliminated? Could some of this, what if I just didn't do some of these things? Like some of them, they might not even be that fucking important. And you can just like, the best way to save time on something is don't do it at all. Other stuff, maybe it's like a certain responsibility. Maybe you could do it way less than you're currently doing it. You know, you could look at like all the things on your list and say, you know what, this thing, I can do it like 50 times less than I'm currently doing it, still get the same results. So that helps as well to just clear things off your plate, is to quite literally just say like, I'm not going to do this, or I'm going to do this way fucking less. Something that really helps me in particular is what I call brain dumping, where some sort of pressure situation, something really fucking stressful, I do what's called brain dumping, where it's like I literally just have this document on my computer where I just use it purely to just like work through issues in detail, just, you know, talk out what's on my mind, what's the situation, spell it out clearly, put a clear plan in place, and then from there you take effective action. Super helpful. I never go back and read this shit. It's literally just a document that I use to just work through these things, process these issues, and you're sort of like your own therapist in a certain way, where you just ask questions, you talk it out, and you just put a plan in place from there to respond effectively to whatever the situation is. High pressure, stressful situations, they're an inevitable part of life and the world of work. So instead of panicking and buckling under the pressure and pissing your pants like most people do, program yourself to respond effectively and learn to thrive and enjoy the challenge of responding to whatever the fucking situation is in front of you. Hope you found this helpful. Let me know in the comment section how else you respond to these high pressure situations, what techniques and strategies help you to respond effectively. Hit that fucking like button, share this video with someone if you found it helpful, subscribe, and check back for more videos.